The 3D animation and design of the next mainline Sonic game will completely change everything we've known about the blue blur, and we finally have the evidence to prove it, as over the past few weeks, Sega has quietly revealed a trail of updates, new animator listings, VFX hiring waves, an art director confirmation, Unreal Engine 5.7 animation tests, and an internal team expansion, all pointing towards a massive visual overhaul for Sonic Frontiers 2 and the next mainline Sonic game. So today we're going to break down the new Sonic model, upgraded animation systems, and how the art style shift has already been confirmed by Sega's own directors. We're also looking at how Kishimoto's statements from 2023, Sega's salary increases, IDW story influence, and new AI and UD HUD designers all linked together with one huge picture, as Sonic's next game will be AAA level, fully stylized, expressive, and next-gen reinvention. But it gets even more exciting because we also have Sonic movie news, new information connected to the direction of Sonic Frontiers 2 darker story, and even test animations that already have been studied internally that match perfectly with Unreal Engine 5.7's expressive rigging tools. But these tests give us our first real glimpse at what Sonic could look like and move like in the next Sonic game. And when you connect this with all of Sega's huge push towards the movie synergy, the new character designer listings, and the possibility of a reveal at the Game Awards, which is highly likely, the timeline becomes shockingly clear, as Sega isn't just making Sonic Frontiers 2, but they're rebuilding Sonic's engine from the ground up, visually and emotionally, to match the standards of modern CG animation and blockbuster storytelling. So stay with me, because the deeper we go, the more everything aligns, and the more undeniable it becomes that the next Sonic game is going to blow Frontiers 1 out of the water. And also make sure to like and subscribe, only if you like me as a person. You don't have to, but it's always there. But if you guys remember this from Sega Informant, this was our first little bit of like interesting information to go over the whole designer listings and character designs for the next mainline Sonic title. The fact it's the Sonic IP too. Was this job listing by Sega Informant? Sonic team are currently hiring for a character designer and supervisor for the Sonic series, so we'll actually read this in Sega Corporation, second business division. So you'll be responsible for creating and supervising the graphic design, character illustration, 3D models, so 3D models there, and it focusing on Sonic's IP, so graphic design, character illustration creation skills, basic knowledge of the Sonic series, business English skills, obviously. But the reason why this is important is because they haven't actually listed for one of these positions in a very long time, and actually they haven't really been focusing on increasing the size of Sonic team ever since the third movie, because that's when Sega finally started to see a huge wave of money, and 2022 was like the big breakout for Sonic when they finally just saw a flood of cash come into Sega. So now they have so much more production scale and a higher budget to just be able to make the coolest Sonic games possible. So this is a really exciting point, and that's also a side point as well. Higher budget, which will instantaneously mean a higher rhetoric for better produced Sonic games, and also Sega finally have put Sonic as their top mascot for the IP, and you might be like, wait, that doesn't make sense, but if you are real Sonic fans, you would know in 2020, I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but Sonic was number 4 at Sega. Number 4! Like, what? I found that heavily disrespectful, the fact that Sonic was number 4 at Sega, like, come on. Now, we're going to go into a lot more information regarding all of this Sonic animation news and the whole feature of the game, but I'm going to talk about this first before we get into that, and it's actually a really interesting point because it could directly relate to Frontiers 2 and future titles. So, the Sonic, and obviously because of the increased budget, but as the Sonic Stadium has said, I don't know if this needs to be repeated, but yes, Tangle and Whisper are now canon, and now they've been in a console game, although no shade to the person originally asking the question, but there have been a bunch of people who refuse to accept this. So yeah, we've got Tangle and Whisper, and we've got II and Knight, which obviously, like, these are just kind of like side characters, but the fact that these are strictly Sonic characters, Tangle and Whisper, we could be seeing them in a future Sonic title or even a side spin-off. That will probably take a while. I would expect that around 2028 or 29. I don't think they would put them in Frontiers 2 straight away, but yeah, it's cool to see IDW characters getting recognized within the Sonic universe, and Frontiers already did kind of confirm this. I bet Tangle would love climbing around these ruins, but I like now that they're actually showing it, because I like Frontiers was a lot of talking but didn't actually show a lot, like how they spoke about the ancients, but then like where were they? But a quick side note, guys, this is by Devin Mack. What do you guys think about multiple voice actors for the Metal Sonic? I want to know what you guys think of that, but I won't go too deep into it. But this also shows that Sega are actually listening. They're showing a lot more references to the actual media and also showing this in future titles. The last bit of information before we go back into like the full swing of Frontiers, Sonic Movie Updates has said that Tyson Hess is confirmed to work on Sonic 4, and he will be the co-producer of the movie just like the previous 3, so yeah, that's pretty awesome. And Anna Kendrick most likely will be Amy because of the high fan demand. December 11th is the Game Awards, and we could be seeing Sonic Frontiers 2 appear there, so get ready for that. Regarding this Kishimoto statement, I do understand people are saying that this isn't direct confirmation, but I think it is, because of based off of the job listings, the animation budget, the overall stance that Sega has taken to look at the Sonic IP, and I know Kishimoto doesn't flick all of the switches in this whole thing, because obviously it's Sonic Team and like directly what Sega want, but if you actually look at the production scale towards how the movies have been pushing direction, which I know are directly related to Paramount, but Sega do have a engine in line to play with it, but then also because Sonic Team have a lot more freedom and Kishimoto is able to work specifically more harshly within the Sonic titles. And he stated that the Sonic's model, animation, and direction will have more issues to address and we'll work on these in the next installment. We'll see in the next installment. And this isn't just a quote, as we did see this in Shadow Generations. I mean, it was great. It was one of the last amazing entries utilizing Hedgehog Engine 2, and now switching to a new engine, I cannot imagine how this is going to look. Well, you might imagine in this video because I'm going to show off some really cool animation work. But before the visual showcase, I want to show exactly Sonic Frontiers 2 statistics that will directly relate to the production of the game. So Sega, starting in 2026, they will raise the starting salaries for university graduates by 10%, and the salaries existing for existing employees will go up, so to create an environment in which employees can work with peace of mind amid the social changes and rising prices. Now, due to the recent titles gaining much notoriety success and also the movies, Sega are trying to bolster the amount that they can give their employees, which will in tangent create better Sonic titles, as I do believe, based off of the Glassdoor reviews, which are job reviews, Sega hasn't really had the best reputation. They don't pay their employees or staff that much, so I think this is really going to reflect a high quality in Sonic titles, specifically Frontiers 2, because this is literally the time where they need to start crunching down and get this title out for 2026 November. But I do understand that a lot of the Sonic community say, hey, I would love if this game got delayed so then we can actually see more of a polish, and I don't necessarily mind. This is my personal take. I think that if they were to delay the game, it would actually add a lot more polish. However, I feel like they've had a lot of time to produce this title. Like, they've been making it for 3 years now. It's going to be around 3.5 when the game comes out, so it would just be really cool. So I think that they've had a reasonable amount of time. I wouldn't mind if it did come out in 2027, but 2026 does seem like a feasible release date. But this isn't just my word, but it's also the fact that Iizuka personally stated that he wants more mainline titles to come out now, so that he's going to lessly focus on remakes or remasters or even extensions like Sonic X Shadow Generations. That was a marketing stunt because obviously they wanted the movie to work alongside Shadow Generations so they can make a lot of sales. But I feel like now that that's over, because we know that Shadow is a huge character, yeah, now we're going to start to see the mainline titles to return to form, and then we obviously could be seeing influence from Metal Sonic as the protagonist, because obviously he's supposed to be the villain of Sonic Movie 4, and yeah, just in general, like more Amy adaptation. So yeah guys, IDW is canon, and for some it's a hard pill to swallow, but that's how it is. Sega made the call, maybe one day they'll change their mind. But here's a warning regarding Frontiers 2, this is by Allshot Queen. I just want to say it's entirely 100% possible that Frontiers 2 does not come out in 2026, and will come out in 2027 instead, and Sega has already said that they have major releases for 2026 and 27 in their investor reports. But remember that these won't all be Sonic games, these will be different titles, so that could be a potential possibility. Still do think Frontiers 2 will come out next year, but the 35th anniversary game could be a smaller game just like Sonic X Shadow Generations, or completely new spin-off genre to keep us over until November 2027. We could also get multiple games in 2026 to compensate, with a teaser for Frontiers 2 in June 2026, which will be the Summer Games Fest, and a full trailer in December 2026. So yeah, I don't think that to be true. If it's true, then oh well, but I do believe that the game will come out next year. Regarding Frontiers 2, I want to give a bit of optimism, guys, because obviously here you've got the character animators, visual effect artists, and menu hard artists for Sonic Forces, and that game didn't even look half bad, and now we've got about triple the size of this, of much higher quality for Frontiers 2. Not trying to knock any of these artists, but I feel like now we've got a much higher grasp on what we're doing for the future titles, and we've got a new inclusion that actually assists game development, which actually will help a lot for Sonic Frontiers 2. So build and render rich, dense open worlds, render beautiful detailed vegetation in real life time with nanite foliage, blend true physical accuracy with substrative materials, experience smoother animation workflows, which will be easier for obviously Sonic Team to animate and obviously less of a budget, and expert guidance from the new in-editor AI assistant. So now you can create physically accurate materials. There's also going to be more of an emphasis on shaders with this, dynamic scalable lighting, and I feel like with the art style of Frontiers 2, they're going to go for like sort of this cartoony but also semi-realistic look, streamlined authoring, but then also guys, the implementation of how Sonic actually moves and feels in Unreal Engine 5, and obviously just seeing how there's more of a squash and stretch, there's more of this like bouncy animation. What's cool about this animation is it specifically blends in Unreal Engine 5 and Maya. So it's also helpful to understand and acknowledge exactly where Sonic Team is heading and how this model is going to change in tangent with the new engine, because obviously these are tests from Shadow Generations themselves. That these tests were produced inside Sonic Team, so created the shaders for Maya and Unreal Engine 5. The artist tried and tested expressions through animation tests and then implemented them in the in-house game engine. So they used a prototype environment which allowed them to try and test expressions freely and quickly, and features allowed artists to create a variety of visuals. So actually it's really helpful that Sonic Team are now getting familiar with this new technology the fact that now they have AI to assist them in creating more rich and expansive animations, it's going to be a hell easier and less of a workload to be able to make these titles as flushed out as they can be. But I know you guys know that they also made these animations, which are just really awesome. These could even be how the cutscenes could look like. I love how expressive Sonic is here. Like, I really do like the squash and stretch. I know some people don't like it, but obviously you can see here the deform on and deform off and exactly how this will look like for the future titles. But also even just the expression on Sonic's face and how he's able to just have so much more animatable expression, and just also how like the squash and stretch adapts itself to where it doesn't look like too corny, but then also has like that Sonic energy. And also I find that it's easier for Sonic Team to make more dynamic camera angles because of the fact that this engine is more easier to animate with, and also just has more of like an upgraded next gen feel. So it will be Sonic Team's first time to be able to dive into something that they actually feel uncomfortable with, but slowly the more they get comfortable with this engine, they'll be able to create something that is a lot more next gen in AAA. And we've also got this animation that shows deform on and deform off. I want to show a general summary of all of these Unreal Engine 5 tests and exactly how Maya has been able to be easily integrated. But the art director actually had some comments about this, as while Sonic Generations Remaster didn't go far with the touch-ups, the tests were seen as incredibly valuable and will influence their input for the next game. So I believe that this is helpful because they're trying to get familiar with Unreal Engine 5, as I previously stated, but also just so then they're able to understand how to adapt the art style with the squash and stretch, and also just more of this like cartoony but also realistic kind of vibe that Sonic Team are going for. But this is a general summary of Unreal Engine 5.7, so rich, dense open worlds, beautiful vegetation, nanite foliage, physical accuracy, and also the AI system. And also the fact that Crosswords was an Unreal Engine 5 game, so they were actually able to manage and optimize this extremely well, especially for Switch 1. And then also this quote, instead of using all the time and energy to remake a game, they obviously are using modern technologies for richer, more complex, interesting worlds. So here that they are actually saying that they're using Unreal Engine 5. So this was really easy in terms of making more squishy character animation and concepts of cutscenes made in Unreal Engine 5. Now in regards to the Game Awards, on Monday we'll be seeing all the official nominations for the 2025 Game of the Year title, so if Sonic Crosswords is there, spam it guys, make sure that it wins. Like, also by GI4, this is a really cool pitch into how Sonic will look like regarding Unreal Engine 5 because of how Sonic has much more of an animatable design, but also still feels recognizable because it's still modern Sonic, and has the redesign that fans really want. Now these Sonic Frontiers 1 hidden content actually shows exactly how Sega were still very enthusiastic towards making Sonic animation more flushed out, and I feel like Unreal Engine 5 will help this. So like you can see here that they're trying so much harder to just be basic and just make Sonic transform, but showing different transformations, so not trying to be very generic. So obviously Unreal Engine 5 gives them the freedom to do this. And somebody made a really cool render that I absolutely adore and I had to show off in this video. This is by Existing the Being, the best Sonic render I've probably ever seen. Like, I think this is awesome. I love this, so massive shout out to you. We've got a bit more Sonic Frontiers 2 stuff that I'll just cover in a second, but Jim Carrey is expected to return for Sonic 4 in 2027, so they're very eager to bring him back. And also Unreal Engine 6 is potentially expected in 2028, and the reason why this is important is because if Sega are developing on Unreal Engine 5, the game has got to come out within 2026 or even early 27. But also people have been aware of this because people have been following Jim Carrey's online website. Back in early January, Paramount wants Jim Carrey back, and Jim said he's very open to return, and Sonic 4's budget and time traveling plot will be intriguing to produce. Seeing the whole concept art for Sonic 3 being scrapped and Sonic 4 will explore these ideas. And he also said that he's taking a short break but won't stop acting and wants to continue acting in Sonic 4. Now regarding Amy Rose, a potential spin-off project is also being planned, and this comes from My Time to Shine. I'm wondering if after Sonic 4 we'll get this first or the Shadow spin-off, which has been rumored for a very long time now. Maybe we might see the Shadow spin-off next year. Now this might be too hopeful, but imagine, because obviously they don't have anything to release for 2026, imagine they just make like a Shadow show. That would be really awesome to see. Let me know what you think of that in the comments. But also, this is by Noob. Getting closer to reaching the halfway mark, this is a really cool animation. I would love to see this kind of expression regarding Sonic's face in the next Sonic game, so let me know what you think of that. And I feel like because of Unreal Engine 5 and more of this squashy, stretchy feeling, we'll be seeing something similar to this effect. So yeah, this is really awesome work. In regards to a general timeline of how we could be seeing things, so 20 Sonic CD, which would be Sonic 4, and then the Shadow series, which I feel like is going to come out in 26, maybe 28, I'm not sure. Or it could be a Shadow series or a Shadow movie. I feel like they might do a movie because Shadow's like more of a notoriety character, and also Amy Rose and Sonic 5. Like and subscribe if you only like this content, and also make sure to let me know in the comments exactly what you suspect for the future of Sonic Frontiers 2 and how Sonic will look like. Just let me know all your speculation. Just tell me everything, guys. I'm super excited for this. And we haven't got long until December the 11th. It's around 26 days by now. We're getting really close. Have an amazing day, guys.